Hi everyone, Lock the Knee Down Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for a review of the new Charli XCX album, How I'm Feeling Now. This is a new quarantine album from UK pop singer and songwriter Charli XCX. 2020 has been the most hellish year in recent memory, and I think as music fans, we should feel appreciative and grateful that some of our favorite artists even have the will to drop a song or a cover during this time, much less an entire album. That's especially true of Charli XCX, who just dropped her futurist pop magnum opus, Charli, last year, named it my album of the year as well. It really was a project she could have coasted on for quite a while, but instead she decided to take this negative situation we are all feeling the effects of to some degree and use it as an opportunity to make some special music. The conditions under which you write or make something can have a huge impact on the outcome of that thing, which is why I want to emphasize that this is not just some collection of songs an artist is passively releasing during this time of pandemic. No, How I'm Feeling Now is actually a reaction to these circumstances, the influence of which bleeds into pretty much every aspect of this project. And I know it's been crazy lately, but I gotta tell you, man, I'm so happy I'm here. I wouldn't want to be locked up with anybody but you. You're my sun, you're my moon, you're my stars, you're my blue sky, you're my blue jay, you're my blue I'm indeed a baga, my gabagi, gabuga, gabugi, babuga. You're my blue blue, my blue boy, my blue boo, blue boo. I love you, buddy. Well, just as an example, we have the opening track, Pink Diamond, whose production is harsh, a little crushing, claustrophobic. The sounds on this one really feel like they are closing in on you. Meanwhile, Charli, lyrically and vocally, sounds like a tiger pacing back and forth in a cage. I just want to go real hard, I just want to go real hard, Pink Diamond in the dark. It's that need to get out that energy, go hard, find some kind of release, but you can't. Every single night kind of feels the same, days blending together. I'm a Pink Diamond, I need space. Meanwhile, with the production, the hits of distortion on this one, how huge the kicks feel. The melting synthesizers too. It's this nightmarish digital mayhem that in some respects reminds me a little bit of Death Grips, which was a comparison prior to listening to this record that annoyed me. I was like, how could this possibly sound like that? But it's actually kind of close. Essentially, this track is the soundtrack to being locked away in some sort of digital prison and you're thrashing about in there. Song-wise, the following Forever is a lot sweeter on the ears, but it still maintains a lot of those same tense sonic elements in the production. It's a little overly compressed. There are these whooshing shots of noise that play throughout different points of the song too. So there's harshness to it, there's bitterness, there's bite that contrasts with just how pleasant to the ear Charli's lead vocals are. I will always love you, I love you forever, even when we're not together. Even in the midst of the bliss of this lovesick anthem, there is a sense of longing as well. Charli wishing that she was essentially existing in a different time, which I think very much fits in with the quarantine vibe of this record. I would say production-wise, so does the track Claws, which features an instrumental from none other than Dylan Brady of 100 gecs fame. I think his sound is absolutely perfect for a project like this. The booming bass, the glitchy electronics, the insane vocal manipulations. Thematically, even though this is one of the sillier and lovey-doveyer tracks on the record, the production still does kind of carry that confined quality to it. It is just vacuum sealed, but simultaneously hulking, crushing, heavy, which contrasts with Charli's very sweet, stupidly in love hooks of I like everything about you, which has a weirdly robotic quality to them that I like a lot. In a way, it makes the repetitions of those I like feel almost as if they are a glitch in a robot or a program or a cyborg or an AI. With the track 7 Years, the themes of love continue continue, but this time Charli is reflecting on all of the years that have passed in the midst of this long-term relationship that she's in. It's not one of the hookier songs here, but lyrically I think it is one of the most personal and compelling on the record, as Charli expresses having experienced highs and lows in this relationship, but now it has arrived ultimately to a good place. So hard, things we've been through could have fallen, but we only grew. So I made my house a home with you. I'm right here and it feels brand new. I used to live inside a lie with you, and now we're honest and it feels so good. Which is not just a wonderful expression of dedication and devotion, but also the payout that can come in a relationship when two people hit a rough patch or rough patches and they decide to work together on their problems and their differences for just a chance at a better tomorrow. Now the vibe, the emotion, the themes of this track contrast heavily with that of the next song, Detonate, which seems like Charli painting herself in a more inconsistent light, with these heavy synthetic manipulations on her voice, even heavier than on many of the other tracks here, that make her sound like she's not even herself. She's expressing a lot of undependability on this track, or at least unpredictability, closing herself off, leaving someone feeling low and blue, generally being untrustworthy. And this is interestingly juxtaposed against a very cute and quaint, low-key electropop instrumental. These moments of deep self-analyzation and self-realignment continue onto the next song, Enemy, because I guess when you're in quarantine and you're locked up, what else are you gonna do? But this track is set to these very springy keys and synth bass that honestly sound like they are straight out of the 80s. And the confessional tone of the writing on this one comes off as if Charli is putting a therapy session to song. There is actually even a spoken word bridge on this track that is literally an audio snippet of Charli having a therapy session. We hear Charli considering her enemy to be her lover, the person closest to her, because she's keeping her enemies close and this person knows everything about her. Yes, the track is pretty irrational and certainly crazy, but these are crazy times we live in, and it is actually very real how quickly your mind can turn yourself against some of the most important people in your life. The last handful of songs, though, on this thing, I think is where we begin to get a couple of duds. I Finally Understand has easily one of the most underwhelming vocal performances, most basic structures, and plainest instrumentals on the entire record. Narratively, I do like that the track brings some sense of closure to these themes of mental anguish and self-hatred, but I'm just not that crazy about the tune. On top of it, I think Charli could have done better to put a bigger stamp on these issues if she were trying to tie them up at this point. We also have Party For You, which is a kind of cute idea, a lot of heartening lyrics, a song essentially about throwing a party for somebody, albeit with a presentation that is very dreamy and idyllic. It almost seems like a fantasy. But the production rings as just very hollow and doesn't provide a very strong background for Charli's rap sung vocals. Plus, I can't help but laugh at the lyrics where Charli is going on and on about partying on someone. For sure, that's not nearly as weird as maybe it comes off at first, but when I was listening to this passively for my first time, I thought she was saying she was pottying on someone. Whatever. Either way, I still do love the track C 2.0, which is essentially a sequel to Click off of her last record, but it's got a very strange, sample-heavy, somewhat glitchy intro that lasts a long time. It's an unorthodox song structure. And then in the second half, we have Charli, who is expressing love, admiration, but also just she's missing her clique. She misses her clique so bad, and the quarantine's essentially getting in between her and her clique. It's heartbreaking. Anthems is the stir-crazy banger that this project needed. Massive sound, gigantic beat, lyrics essentially about spending all day eating cereal, watching TV, crying, missing your friends, fucking. But it's not enough. What is this stuff if you can't go out and hear some anthems? Go out at night, see New York, etc., 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 all that party girl shit that Charli's always on about. She needs that. It's her soul. It's her lifeblood. But it's not just that. There are some bars on this track that are obnoxiously real, meaning partying and feeling the heat from other people's bodies in that public space. And some of us, it's a sensation we're not going to feel for a while. That closeness to other people, I think, is a part of the human experience, and we're being deprived of that right now. And I think Charli, in her own way, reflects on that interestingly. With the final cut visions, we do get a great sense of closure to this record, sonically and thematically. The slowly swelling beds of synthesizers on this track and the driving beats, honestly, are pretty uplifting and feel like hope. Feel like light at the end of the tunnel rushing over you as we enter into a brighter future, hopefully. The song essentially comes off like the soundtrack to reimagining a better world, with Charli going on and on and on about pictures in her mind, but the very, very, very final moments of the song, maybe that's her waking up out of this dream, maybe it's things turning dark or uncertainty painting her mind and this fantasy that she's in the midst of, because how dissonant and ugly the techno beats and synths get at the very final moments of the song make me feel like, oh, maybe the future we're heading to is not all that great. I think this record's really good. I think it's great. Obviously, it has its limitations that have been instilled upon it by the conditions under which it was created. It sonically is not nearly as vibrant as Charli. It is not nearly as multifaceted as many songs from that record as well. The whole thing is under 40 minutes, 11 tracks in total, and so far, I think it is the best music I have heard this year in terms of reflecting on this quarantine, this pandemic, this situation that we're currently in, and the emotional and mental toll that it may be taking on many people. Feeling a light to decent 8 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Charli XCX. How I'm feeling now, forever.